Hello and welcome back to New Year, New Game. This is where I attempt to play 365 games from my Steam library that I have never played before. This is game 258, Foretales. Foretales is a card game, deck builder. I know it's a card game. I know that much. We're gonna slip over to the Steam store page. We're gonna see here. I read it yesterday when I was like, oh, this is gonna be the game that I'm gonna play. Card game, narration, adventure, board game. You decide the fate of the world in this ingenious story-driven card game. Foretales offers a unique take on the adventure genre, with a multitude of play styles and story paths through which you can save the world or bring about its end, which is probably going to be my focus. Destroy the world entirely. That sounds like a wonderful, great idea. So without further ado, let's get in the game. We'll start with A, empty. Are you sure you want to start a new game? I am! That's the whole gist of this thing that I do. A mysterious patron. Volpain needs money to help his father and the local miners. His friend, Leo, says there's someone in town with a very lucrative job offer. Well, alright then. I bet you Leo's the tiger. Welcome to Foretales, an adventure game where your progress... I did that all wrong. Let's start over. Welcome to Foretales, an adventure game where you progress by combining cards and exploring decks. I'll explore your deck. Wait, what? Oh, look, they have their own little talk bubbles. This is it, Volpain. Our ticket to the easy life. One last job, and our days of stealing apples from the market are behind us. And that's what you said the last time. So who is this contact of yours? His name's Timothy. He says he has work for people like us. And you're sure he can pay? Because I could really do with the money right now. Don't worry, he promised a hefty reward. Should be more than enough to help your father and the miners with the strike. And for me to take an early retirement. It's just a little difficult to track down in town sometimes. We'd better ask around then.
He looks like a good place to start.
Alright. Good day to you, young bird. How could I be of assistance? We're looking for someone by the name of Timothy. Ah, I see. A very secretive fellow he is. I think I've heard something about him the other day, but sadly, my memory isn't what it once was. Right. And what might jog your memory, I wonder? A bite to eat usually does the trick. About 5 should be sufficient. 5? That's enough to last a few days. Ignore my friend here. We'll come back with some food for you. We already have one, just 4 to go. A typical region of the game is composed of 3 to 6 location cards placed on the board. You can learn more by hovering your cursor over a card. Sometimes on cards will also trigger dialogue or reaction from your characters. Try it out for yourself. Click on the left card with the beggar. He will remind you of what he wants. Would you spare a morsel of food for an old beggar? I wouldn't call 5 food a morsel. This is demanding work for an old man like me. I'd like to see you try it. Yeah. You'll get your food all right. You have 2 types of action cards at your disposal. Skill cards of your adventurers and consumable cards. Targets will often be location cards, but not always. When you hover over one of your cards, the possible target, and highlight it, along with hints as to what will happen if you play there. So pay attention to what is highlighted and where the hints appear. Conversely, if you place your cursor over elements of the board, it'll highlight the action cards you can play there. Take a moment to explore your current cards and see if you can figure out a way to find enough food to proceed. So what's this person? The Apple Merchant. Don't be fooled by his jolly banter. He's much a gossip, as he is a merchant. So we could use these over here. On the scent, years in the wilderness have made Leo, I called it, an outstanding tracker with a flair, sniffing out food and places of interests. Nimble hands, when you're born with nothing, you have to steal what you can to survive. If you're lucky, you'll survive long enough to get pretty good at it. Soldering of the weak. The poor, the weak, and the needy must stick together to survive. Volpain can inspire compassion to attract potential allies. There's also this, eavesdrop. You can learn a lot when you take the time to stop and listen. What's this? This is the marketplace. The sights, sounds, and smells of city life intermingle in the bustling hub of commerce. A great place to trade goods. You can also use our money. It makes kings of men, buys forgiveness for lost souls, and can even start a war or two. It can also be used to buy apples. So if I were to, let's see, we got fame. A good deed can open many doors. Having the respect of the community is always a good way to achieve your goals. Grim. Theft, murder, violence, and general lawlessness. A reputation like that guarantees respect among outlaws and makes law-abiding citizens to quake in their boots. So I guess we could try this. Consume 1 fame to get +2 food and move to the next location. Always happy to give a free sample to local celebrities. You hear that, Volpain? Celebrities!
Well, you won't go hungry for a while.
One very important rule to remember. You can only play 1 card per location card on the board. Sometimes it will transform the target card into another, but most of the time it will just consume it and travel to the next card. A standard used card from the board will go back to the bottom of the exploration deck, and once a slot is available, it will automatically be filled with the top card from the exploration deck. You can't run out of location cards to explore because the exploration deck always cycles. What's this? The Poor District. The population here are in dire need of help, but can also offer assistance if they're asked nicely enough. That's probably where this comes in handy. Move to Block Kids. Ahoy there, scamps! What do you want, mister? Block Kids, these streetwise scamps, have had to learn how to fend for themselves on the cruel streets of the hardy Republic. We can use absolute violence against them. That just gives us gold. If we give them gold, we can get fame and whatever the thing is there. You could also go here and just use 1 to get +2 gold or +2 food.
Wash that before you eat it.
Anyways, without dealing with these nasty Block Kids. Okay, I think we've got enough food now. Let's see what this guy knows. Lead the way. Would you spare a morsel of food for an old beggar? I wouldn't call 5 a morsel. This is demanding work for an old man like me. I'd like to see you try it. Yeah, you'll get your food all right. I already said that, but hey, here's his food. Oh, thank you, young bird. Now, about this Timothy chap. But of course, where are my manners? Here, follow this path.
That should show the way. Very kind of you, I must say.
Thanks for the tip, friend. A good day to you, bird. Well, what now? I suppose we should follow the old beggar's directions on that piece of paper. Sometimes you'll have to seek directions to progress in the story and reach new destinations. Check the descriptions on your cards. That piece of paper. Yes, that one. There's
Really
combat
do make
there.
a lot of enemies, Volpan.
Beware! A hostile token is blocking this card. You won't be able to play any cards on this suspicious street until you get rid of those bandits. If you tap on the token, you can see the creatures forming the group and decide whether to engage or not. Most confrontations start with a negotiation phase if you have the correct resources. You might be able to discard this threat without any violence. But if you don't absolutely need to play a card here, you may as well avoid any conflict and play on the other cards available. The old beggar has marked the map with Timothy's location. All Volpe needs to do is find the nearest marketplace and follow the directions from there. This is the old well. This is Suspicious Street, and those are kids. The old well, a good place to refresh oneself or make a quick wish. Oh, it's rallying cry, an inspiring call to arms that draws out potential allies in the area. So we could try this. Moves to small crowd. +1 food. Interaction effects gives us fame also. This looks like a good spot to refill our canteens. Got a food. Over here! Leo's mighty roar drew a crowd of curious townsfolk. Aim shot, a deadly shot in combat that can also take out enemies from a distance without raising an alarm. Oh god, look at all the stuff that we get. It's all bad stuff. It's a lot of this. We're killing people at this point. On the scent just makes us move. Solidarity of the week. We can get fame or gold from that one. And it looks like a item or resource from there. Eavesdrop. Nimble hands, where we start taking stuff from the poor. Let's not do that one. Let's give solidarity to the week. We receive a street urchin and move to the next location. Hey, kid, shouldn't you be in school? Wait a minute, maybe I can be of help. You've recruited at least one fighting ally. Allies can be used on your adventuring cards during fights. They will aid their attack score to the attack of the adventurer for as long as they survive. Depending on the type of the ally, they will position themselves in front of or behind your adventurer. Front allies add a layer of protection and preserve your health, but may not survive the whole fight. Allies in the back will only serve as support to increase the attack, but they are most likely to survive until the end of the confrontation. Alright, here's hoping that kid can fight. What do we got here? A noisy tavern, the perfect place to get some rest and recruit fellow adventurers. Stay a while, listen closely, and you just might hear something useful. Stay a while and listen. We can't play the map on anything. I can use my street urchin here to get 1 food. My fame's no good here. If I give a food, I get 2 fame. I don't have enough gold to use this for anything. The aim shot just makes us move. On the scent makes us move. I can get a card from here if I eavesdrop. That just moves me to the next location. I'm gonna eavesdrop over here. And we're gonna receive local chit chat. Good to know. Hey, a marketplace. That's what we're looking for. A little morsel of gossip heard around town. It might be worth much, but it's a conversation starter at least. But it's... Alright. Story effects, here we go.
Show, Volpan.
A heavily bandaged figure stood alone in the alleyway. He looked like he was waiting for someone. As Volpan and Leo approached, the figure turned to greet them. Ah, Leo! So you're finally here, and you brought a crow. I'm a shoebell. But of course you are. We heard you have work.
Do I ever? But before we get down to brass tacks, I always like to get an understanding of who it is I'm working with.
What do you mean?
I'd like a demonstration of the value you bring to this operation. Demonstration? Yes, you know, skills, my boys. Show me your skills.
The pair looked at each other, perplexed. We'll have to shoot this guy. What did he mean, skills? Skills in combat? Sleight of hand? Or maybe just a good old trick shot from Leo? We got a trick shot. We got an aim shot. It will progress the story if I do that. There's a nimble hands, sleight of hands thing we could do as well. We got 3 of them. We're gonna use one of them.
What if I were to steal your purse right from under your nose? That would be impressive, especially as you've just warned me you were about to. Hold on a minute.
With a wary smile, Volpan produces a finely embroidered purse full of gold. The masked figure was taken aback.
Very impressive indeed. Here you go. All present and correct. I'll tell you what, keep it. Consider that your first payment.
Hey, look at that. It's a lot of gold.
Oh, thanks very much.
Now then, perhaps you'd like to tell us what it was you needed.
I would like for the 2 of you to acquire an item for me. An instrument, in fact. A very rare and beautiful lyre that is currently in the possession of the esteemed Lady Cattell.
I bet you she's a cat person.
You mean the old bat who lives on the hill?
Oh, she's a bat.
I wouldn't call her that to her face, but yes, that's her. I'd like you to break into her manor, steal the lyre, and bring it to me at the Holy Grove.
The Holy Grove? I know the place. Well, I know the place well. I'll get you there myself, Volpan.
Excellent. Then I shall leave you to it. I look forward to our next meeting.
All right, we've got a job to do.
At long last.
We can get straight to it if you think you're ready to go. Or we could spend some more time on the streets to prepare. It's your call.
Actually, how's about a small nap before we set off?
You read my mind. Remember, you only have a limited number of skill cards in your adventurer's decks. Spending too many of their skill cards will tire them out. If you want to recover some skill cards, you will have to use rest cards on the right-hand side of the board. Each rest card has its own set of effects and sometimes a price that you can decide to pay or not. Read them carefully to see what they cost. Go on, left-click on the rest deck, and try to use the first rest card.
Friends of yours, Volpan?
At least one of your adventurers is down to their last few skill cards. Maybe you can use the rest deck to recover some. Since rest cards will give skill cards back to all adventurers, it's often a good idea to use actions from all your adventurers, and not just one. If you spread the effort between them, they won't have to rest as often. We're trying to do this. Rest.
an uneventful stop. Recover up to 3 skill cards per adventurer. Seems like a good thing.
That is quite enough laying around for the time being, thank you.
Feeling better already. You recovered some skill cards and suffered no other consequences. Don't expect to be that easy all the time. The next card in the deck will cost you food or health potions. Oh, health points, I think's what that said. And the last card of the rest deck is always a game over, so be sure to check out how many times you can hope to rest in a region. Once you move on to the next region, the rest deck will be replaced with a new set of cards. And the number of rest cards in the next region is independent of how many you've used here. You have completed this region. You can either proceed to the next region, or you might want to spend some more time here to gather resources and allies. Beware, consumables and resources are carried over from one region to the next, but they are not carried over from one mission to the next, so there's no need to hoard excessively. Region complete. Move on when you're ready. I think we're going to move on. Let's get out of here. Somewhere in the garden. Leo has brought Volpan to the city garden, where food is plentiful and secrets lurk around every corner. Deep in the labyrinth lies our hero's destination for the evening. Lady Foretales Manor. Let's go. Watch out, guards! Ah, look at them. There are now several hostile creatures in the search party. The deck of cards representing the animals chasing your party. Each time a new location card appears on the board, if it has a search party called token with an I, it may spawn a group of enemies from the search party. Some of your actions may also add hostiles to the search party, hostiles that you may have to face later, so be careful. We get 4 locations this time around. Right then, Timothy said the instrument is inside Lady Foretales Manor. That's one there. The big house with the labyrinth? That's the one. Well, getting through the hedge maze is going to be tough. I think I saw some gardeners wandering around earlier. Maybe they'd know the way.
You better have a warrant.
Nothing we can do for this. Gardener. He knows these gardens like the back of his hand, and if you're polite, he'll even show you where all the best apples are. If we do that, he gives us fame and we can move on. The kid can give us 2 food and move on. Grim, we can get something. Theft, murder, violence, general lawlessness. I don't know what it gives us. Fame will also give us something. I might use fame. Food does nothing. Gold will also give us something. We have a lot of gold. So I'm going to hold off on my fame and just give him a gold. We receive a gardener. Now, all we need to do is lead the gardener to the labyrinth, and the rest shall be easy. We'll see about that.
Could be something good there.
Most decks on the board can be browsed. For example, if you check the content of the exploration deck, you can see what will be the next location to be revealed. Maybe your current objective is somewhere in there. Maybe you want to check if the card you're looking for is coming soon. If a card is not in the exploration deck, there may be a way to access it with some movement effect or some exclamation effect. And remember, the exploration deck is cycling.
There has to be a way in.
Be this one here, right? Story progression this way. We have an appointment with the lady of the house. Would you show us the way through the maze? I've trimmed these hedges many a time. Follow me.
That's quite a statue.
Yeah, it is. It's a spider. Huh? What is it? Sorry, sirs. I'd rather not go any further.
What? You're serious? We're barely halfway.
It's the statue, sirs. Bad luck it is. Haunted. The gardener backed away from the statue nervously, leaving Volpan and Leo alone. They had to admit it was a rather foreboding sight.
Great.
Shh! I think I hear a guard patrol coming.
Quick, hide.
What have you done this time?
The patrol took up positions right in front of the statue. Patrols, we can deal with. But how are we going to find our way through the rest of this labyrinth?
There's gotta be a map around here somewhere. How else do the gardeners find their way in and out?
Maybe you're right. Let's circle back, see if we can find a map.
If at any point you're lost during a mission, you can always use the hint system. Hovering over the button will show a very condensed reminder of your current objective. Using the hint system will trigger some help based on your current situation. Oh, how are we going to cross that maze? Get rid of those guards first. And remember, it doesn't have to be a bloodbath. What's the location? Locked greenhouse. A heavy chain blocks the way to the greenhouse. Breaking the glass would attract too much attention. There has to be a quiet way in. So definitely using some of these, like local chit-chat, will move that location from the orchard to somewhere else. The street orchard will move us to a location 2 and gain us 2 food, but we don't want food. Grim and Fame's not really going to do us much here. Aim shot, fame and food on the scent will move us. I'll flip the location or do something with it. Let me real quickly see to just how far in are we. 27 minutes and 30 seconds. I actually think this would be a good place to stop. So this is an interesting concept for a game, where it combines the efforts of a card game, almost like a board game, card game, kind of games like that. Deck builder-esque, but it's more resource management when you have like these things over here. I like the concept of the skill cards, and then like this little number here being the amount of skill cards that your characters have, and if you use them too much, your characters can get exhausted. That's how you can lose the game. And then having the rest mechanic, I like that, along with the different locations of things that can happen too. I was doing my best to avoid getting into conflict, just because it kind of seems like we got someone here who's more diversion-y rogue type and less combat based. However, Leo does seem to have some combat, but it doesn't seem like they like to get too much into it as much as they would, kind of just, stealthily going around without causing massive death everywhere they go. But yeah, I like it. I can see myself coming back and trying again and going through the game. The narrative and the direction, we didn't really get too far on, but that's okay. I'm still interested in the fact to see what happens and how this turn of events can go based on the cards that I played, because it kind of seems like there are many paths you can take. And so that to me is really interesting, when you have different paths and choices along the way of telling the story, and your decisions make what the story is. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next game. Goodbye.